typically from what I see, dude, your skating is what I would class in the more like creative genre of skateboarding. So there's stuff that people, there's like the Nigel Houstons, the Jamie Foys, the dudes who are like contest skaters who can hit a rail every time. They're not falling, they're badasses.
Yeah.
Then you've got people like, Richie Jackson, William Spencer, Jason Park, Johnny Geiger, all these dudes who are doing weird, more creative kind of interesting stuff. But I wanted to ask you, how do you feel about the YouTuber versus the whole pro skater thing? There's a lot of YouTube skaters that are now pros, that the pros who are like legit come up through the ranks don't really consider them as like equals and whatnot. Where do you kind of stand on that whole thing?
I'd say that there are people like YouTube skaters that are getting like pushed up to pro, even though they're not at the same level as someone who's like a lot better than them, and they put a lot. Well, I don't know if they put a lot more work in it because I just don't know them, but they're at a higher level and they're not pro. But I guess from like a company standpoint, they're making these people pro because if they've got like, I don't know, like 500,000 to 1 million followers on YouTube, if they make a pro board that goes out, they're going to sell a lot of those boards compared to someone that is just, at the skate park every day, headphones in.
Yeah.
Even people that just like, they're really good, they're like just chilling all the time at the park, don't really leave, way better. They're just not going to sell as many boards. Yeah, I don't know. It's more of a business thing, isn't it? Really, I guess.
It's an interesting point because a lot of skaters typically are emotionally bound by that. I typically, when I've asked skaters in the past, some are like, "No, fuck the YouTube guys," and other people are like, "Ah, we're all skaters," kind of thing. So I think the business point is one that doesn't really ever get brought up with that, and I think it's a really good point that at the end of the day, business wise, and not only that, like I said a second ago, with Braille getting skateboarding to the masses, a lot of people watch YouTube. A lot of people, are following people like, John Hill, Aaron Cairo, Garrett Gaynor, Chris Chan, those kinds of people who are the YouTube skaters. And you're right, for companies in the skate community to employ those people or to utilize the fact that they do have ridiculous followings would make sense. At the end of the day, there's no bad decision there. Like if you're going to sponsor someone who has got, like you said, millions of followers, then hell yeah, their signature shoe, their pro model of whatever, whether it be a shoe or a board or fucking whatever, is gonna sell a whole lot better. And you're totally right. Do you know what I hadn't even really thought about actually? So I fully think that's a great point, man.
From like the perspective, like I was a pro, like not a pro skater, but if I was at a point where I wanted to be pro and there was someone else that had got what I've been trying to get for like years and years because they've got like a really high following, it almost then would feel like a popularity contest. And I probably would be quite pissed off. But
that makes sense, yeah.
You can see why it happens, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
There's different considerations, and I think it's probably unfair to group all YouTube skaters as YouTube skaters.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's some that are playing the game, right? That will just try to, do a trick or do some sort of video capture of something that they know is going to be attracted by people that like skating, maybe people that don't know skating, but would just, for whatever reason, it's clicky and they like it. So there are definitely those guys, and they're kind of chasing something completely different than learning how to skate at a level across, different stances and, fakie and, everything. But there's definitely some YouTube skaters that tick all the boxes that, up and coming, authentic skaters, they love skating. They just happen to throw a camera out, and do it often. So you got to be careful with, right? Don't you think?
Well, yeah, if you've found someone that it takes all the boxes, then that's the gold mine for a company, I guess. Like that's what they'd be looking for. Someone that can bring in revenue and isn't like at a pro skating level, then yeah, for
Who's
sure.
like that? Who's like that these days, would you guys say?
I would say probably people who are being legitimized within the community, I guess. And also there's a difference because there's YouTube skaters and there's also like Instagram skaters. Like, I'm not sure if you've kind of seen that, Kels. Like, for example, there's a guy called Jamie Griffin, who I don't think does much on YouTube or anything else, but he's fucking madly famous within the skate community. Barracks post his shit like all the time.
Yeah,
And like people like him are like Instagram ones, but for example, someone like Johnny Geiger, I would put in the YouTube skaters, who's a guy who's worked from fucking nothing, who's worked his way up, who at this point is inventing tricks. And to me, if you're inventing tricks, you're fucking a pro. Like, you're in that pro category 100%. And these aren't like it's not like he's inventing like a weird like, oh, do some like Casper double fucking Casper rotate ball, this kind of shit. He's actually doing complicated flip tricks that are new. He's doing like Sigma flips and shit that he's inventing.
Mm.
I would put him possibly in that category because he's also recognized by the skate community as someone who is a fucking badass for just the level of skill that he has, maybe. But there's very few, Tom, honestly. Like the YouTube and skate, I would say there's quite a disparity between the two in terms of how the skate community views it.
What about
with
what about Vinny Bonn? Because he sort of was discovered on YouTube, but I mean, would you say he's just a YouTube? But he seems to be now transferring over, or no?
He was sponsored by a very small company early on, so he's more like, I would say he's more traditionally independent kind of thing because he's more he more got featured in YouTube videos. It's not that he creates YouTube content himself. It was their NKA videos, I want to say, picked him up, and also so did Braille. And between the two of them, they like his career popped. And then I think he got Trick of the Year for like SLS or Thrasher a couple years ago, and that was about it. But I wouldn't put him in the YouTuber category for sure.
Yeah.
with the Instagram skaters thing, there's a guy called Versace Plug who he's so good. He is absolutely incredible, and he's like Instagram, I guess, like Instagram famous or whatever. He's got a huge following in Instagram, and like even that, like, he released a part and it got like way more traction than another one. But his skating is incredible. Such good style.
His flair, dude. Oh god, his like ghetto birds and his like, I don't even know. Yeah, he's always like hands down, and you're like, how are you just swagging out these crazy fucking tricks?
We're chugging through. We're loving doing this stuff for you guys. If you want to support us, if you want to make sure that we can keep getting, better quality set, better quality lights, make the filming better.
Bigger batteries for the camera.
Bigger batteries for the camera.
Yes.
All that kind of stuff. You can do that by just liking, following the page, and subscribing to the YouTube channel. That is what really makes a difference to us.